This is probably the simplest episode yet of Girls Last Tour, and I know for a fact that this video will probably not be that long. I'm gonna probably say this video is gonna be around between 5 minutes to 8 minutes. That's how long I think this video is gonna be, because it's a relatively simplistic episode, but just because it's simplistic does not mean, just FYI, want to go right into it, does not mean that this is a bad episode. Actually, this episode is what makes this series so good. The chemistry of the characters, to the world, to the message, all of that. This is a perfect example of why this series works. And in this case, Girls Last Tour, this latest episode, it is very fluffy. And when I say fluffy, I mean just very, very, very happy. Because you and she, their interactions, it's just so adorable. Because you see that these two, without each other, they honestly probably wouldn't have made it as long as they have. And they really complement each other in this series. And just they work upon each other and how their characters, you know, actually act in this series. It makes it for a very fun ride. But anyways, let's get into the main concept of the episode, which is food, or survival in this case. When we think about today, real life, our society, it's pretty easy. It's really easy to get food. It's really easy to go out of our way, get in a car, and go to a grocery store, or a convenience store, whatever, and get some food. It's pretty simple. It really is, with how modern society is. Or if you're really, really lazy and don't want to go out, you can actually just order your food online through Amazon. So today's society, you don't really have to struggle or go out of your way that far to actually get any type of food. And so in this case, this episode shows the fundamentals of what ancient humans, or just over 100 years ago, or even some people somewhere else out in this world that probably don't have access to convenience stores or, you know, Amazon or whatever, they still have to do stuff like this. And in a way, it allows you to appreciate the little things in life. Now, have you ever heard the saying that sometimes you don't really realize how much you appreciate something until it's gone, or you don't realize how much effort goes into something because it's just so easy and you don't think too much about it? In this case, that's what's going on here. You and she, their entire journey right now in this episode was them just going to a destination to get potatoes. That was the entire objective of the episode. Now, on paper, and just saying it, it sounds like this would be a relatively boring episode. I mean, just to go right out there and state it, it sounds like it would be very boring. Like, why are you watching this series? That's what it sounds like. It's just boring. But that's not necessarily the case. What makes this series so fascinating is that you get to see how humanity would try to survive after everything is over. And a lot of times when you have like a post-apocalyptic setting for like a series, there's a lot of focus on the dread and darkness of the world, which this series kind of has a little bit of that. But overall, though, mainly this series is about the happy times, or the journey, the adventure, and that's what's going on here. You and she, and how they help each other throughout their life to get to their destination. In this case, them scavenging for food. So, their journey, as they're trying to get this food, they finally come across these machines and all that, and they have to make their own food by hand, basically. They use some machines to help them out, but overall, they make this food by hand. And it allows you to appreciate, once everything is said and done, once the food is done cooked, you can actually enjoy it. Have you ever heard the saying that food tastes better when you work for it, or something always feels better when you work for it? In this case, that's what's going on here. You and she, when they went out of their way to make this food, this bread and all that, the potatoes and stuff they were baking, they worked hard for it. They had to journey for a very long time. They had to overcome the fear of heights. They had to, you know, eventually run away from like a grinder, like a potato grinder. I mean, you have all these little things, just the journey to get there. And when they finally got there, and they finally waited to make this food, after making it, they could appreciate it, and that's what happened. So, this series, like I said, is very simplistic. This episode is very simple, and I mean, it really won't take long to really understand the concept of it, but it's just a fun series by the way it is presented, and I feel like this is a very critically underrated series from fall. I really wish there was more people that actually picked this series up, because it's definitely one of the best. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff from this season that many are just not really acknowledging at all, and this is definitely one of them, because this is one of those series that just stands out to me. I mean, I know it's probably very hard for this series to compete with something like Kino no Tabi because, I mean, it's also an adventure series, so it's very hard for Girls Last Tour to compete, but it has its own style to it that just makes it truly enjoyable. So, anyways, besides that, let's talk about the Yu and Chi comedy. So, Yu, I haven't talked about her in a while. Like, I haven't really dived into her and told you guys my thoughts about her. Yu as a character, when she was first introduced, I didn't really like her that much. I mean, she seemed like she had this darker side to her, especially when she pointed a gun at, you know, Chi in episode 1, but ever since then, she seems to be more of a klutz. She just goes around and messes things up or causes problems. She's always hungry or selfish. In this case, it can be kind of annoying. However, over these episodes, over time, I've actually started to love her character. I'm actually loving her character when she's on screen and how she causes problems and all that, especially with how she interacts with Chi. I mean, I like that scene in this episode where she actually was trying to help out Chi overcome her fear of heights. That was a very adorable scene, how she was just grabbing Chi's hand and pulling her with her. It was just so sweet. It melted my heart. I'm like, this is truly just putting a smile on my face because the way this series is done, it just like, wow, these two girls, you can see that they're just best friends. And Yu, at first, I thought was just going to be a very annoying character, but the way she has showcased her characterization, I actually don't dislike her anymore. I actually really am fond of her being on screen, and I really like Chi as well in her interactions with Yu, especially that scene when freaking she is running from the potato grinder, and Yu was hitting the button. That made me laugh. That legit made me laugh, because I'm like, why in the hell is the potato grinder button, the start of the machine, a red button? Like, why? Okay, when we think of, like, a red button, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? It's, like, the stop button. That's what you think a red button is. Like, press the red button. It stops, you know, whatever you're probably operating. In this case, the red button actually started the machine. And I'm like, that does not make any sense. I mean, I know red also is a sign of caution. Be careful. But in this case, a machine in a factory, a red button, that should actually stop it. And a green button should be go, like it's, you know, it's starting right now. So that was just really weird how that was done, but just seeing Chi just run for her life and all that, and then you was like, you know, you could have ran sideways, like you could have ran to the left or right, and you could have gotten off. I like that scene. That was really funny, because it does make a lot of sense. But yeah, that's about it. The episode, like I said, it was incredibly simple. It's not really anything like mind-blowing to where you're going to be like, whoa, this is complicated and complex, but it's just an enjoyable series. And I think everybody can agree with me that it's just one of those series that can just leave you with a smile every single Friday. So, I love you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this week's episode of Girls Last Tour. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Please be honest in the comments below. And do you think this series deserves more popularity? Like, it's just critically underrated. Do you think, you know, it should be a lot more popular than it is? Please be honest, and what do you think is the reason why this series isn't popular? Do you think it's probably because of the moe art style? If I had to assume anything, I would assume it's that. The moe art style that's probably hurting this series over anything else. It's most likely that. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe, and if you like this video, please leave a like, and if you don't like this video, obviously, you know, leave a dislike, because I won't fault you for it. Everybody has an opinion, and if you don't like me, it's understandable, because not everybody's going to like me. So, love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.